Welcome to Medill Newsmakers. I'm Nadia Adams. Did you know that as of right now, there are 2 criminal justice reform bills in the Illinois House that either want to get rid of cash bonds or for counties to opt out in favor of cash bonds? In 2017, the Illinois House passed the Bail Reform Act. This law requires offenders deemed dangerous or violent to post cash bail. Offenders of nonviolent crimes or misdemeanors can be released on a signature bond requiring no money to be posted. Not being able to bond out of jail can put defendants at risk of losing their job, housing, and even children. Let's take a look. Devoureaux Wolf was 24 years old when one day he says his life changed.
I was coming home from the link office and I ran across one of my friend's younger brother who was in the whip, and I asked him, like, could he give me a ride home? We got pulled over. I just probably was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Police got aggressive with me, but the point was I ended up getting assaulted. And the crazy thing, I ended up getting charged for assaulting him. Next thing you know, I'm in Cook County Jail with a $3,000 bond and didn't even know how I was about to pay it at the moment.
Unable to pay his bond, he stayed in pretrial detention for 3.5 months.
At the end of the day, I had almost lost my house. I almost lost my career with doing the things with the kids and doing music. It was pretty much an impact on my family that I wasn't around.
He says his family struggled to come up with the money.
My uncle died at the time when I was incarcerated. So at this moment, I almost had the $3,000 to put up to get me out, but it was all starting to be put towards my uncle's funeral, which was critical on my end because now I'm still in the need of help.
Until another inmate provided him the number to the Chicago Community Bond Fund, a nonprofit organization that helps people bond out of jail.
I decided to take the number and use it and gave it to my mother, and before I know it, I had an attorney visit and CCBF was there. I explained to them that I'm in a situation where I need to be out, and by the next week I was discharged. And from there, I started volunteering work with CCBF, helping them doing advocacy work.
Devoureaux says incarceration is not the solution to the bigger problem.
There's other people that's out here dealing with more problems than what you expect. And you thinking putting them in the jail cell is gonna help it. It's not. I can say I was affected from that to the point where I almost lost everything. But thank God that CCBF, this program, this organization came about and they saved me.
Devoureaux is focusing on giving back to his community by volunteering with Chicago Community Bond Fund and through his business, Dancing Out.
Let's give our people something to do. Let's be a service to our community. Let's give them hope. Let's get activities going again. The after-school programs, the recreational centers. Like, that's what our kids could drive off, because at the end of the day, yes, there's a lot of people that's adults that's, having mishaps, but the youth is our future, especially for our people. We don't need them going to jail as well.
In addition to that story, you may remember this story from 2015 when a Texas woman failed to signal her traffic light. She was pulled over by police. The exchange quickly escalated and Sandra Bland was arrested and sent to a Texas county jail. Unable to come up with a $500 cash deposit that was needed to post her $5,000 bail, she died in police custody while waiting for her family to help her come up with the money. Just like her, far too many low-income people end up not being able to bond out of jail. Joining in on the conversation, I have with me now defense attorney Marcus Shantz from Springfield, Illinois. Thank you for being here, Marcus. So right now you're in Springfield, which is Sangamon County. What do you think of the abolition of the cash bond? Do you think that would hold up in counties outside of Cook County?
When somebody pays cash bond, that money is refunded less than 10% at the conclusion of the case. Okay, the whole purpose of a bond is to ensure the defendant for future court dates. So when the case is all over, and he either goes to probation or goes to a penitentiary or he doesn't have to go to court more, then the then the bond is refunded. And like I mentioned, 10%. So it's allowable that the defendant sign over their bond money to their attorney. And there are a lot of cities in Chicago that accept bonds as payment for legal. I initially did and then stopped doing it because I thought it created a possibility of the appearance of a conflict.
Thank you, Marcus, for your time and your insight. Coming up after the break, a deeper look into the cash bond system from Cook County and how those policy changes have impacted the system. Stay tuned.
Northwestern break right through that with our colors flying we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Welcome back to Medill Newsmakers. I'm Nadia Adams. Critics of the elimination of the cash bond say that not all counties in Illinois are like Cook County, a county that has a population of about 5 million. Illinois House Bill 221, proposed by Representative Stephen Reek and 7 other state representatives, say counties other than Cook County should be allowed to opt out of the changes made from the Bail Reform Act. Court administrators say the elimination of the cash bond forfeits court fees and eliminates court services for victims. Prosecutors say it leaves domestic violence victims at risk to be attacked again upon the defendant's release. Let's take a look. To get a deeper look inside the cash bond system, I went to Cook County Jail to see where pretrial inmates were held for pretrial detention. 3 years ago, Division 5 housing unit in Cook County Jail housed 2 male inmates per cell. Today it houses none. Also, a separate women's division is closed. As less people are required to pay bond, around 40% of the jail population has gone down. The bonding facility is where people come to post the bond of their friends and family. There is a bond room where bond is set. Cook County accepts cash, credit, or check. The bonding facility is managed by the Cook County Clerk's Office. I spoke to Janice Jackson, the Assistant Chief Deputy Clerk for the Criminal Division, about her branch's role in the bond system.
The amount of the cash bonds have gone down due to the change in the judicial review being performed. The percentage of people that are able to bond out of jail can change on a day-to-day basis, depending upon the economic conditions of the individuals arrested. Getting rid of the bond system will change the procedures the judges will follow to determine whether a person should or should not be released. There will have to be a risk assessment performed of each person to determine their likelihood of not coming to court.
Illinois House Bill 3347 to abolish monetary bail is proposed by Representative Justin Slaughter and 11 other representatives. They believe this will bring fairness to the criminal justice system. The goal is to ultimately reduce incarceration rates, but another bill has been proposed. House Bill 0912, proposed by Representative Patrick Windhorst, to amend the 2017 law by exempting a person incarcerated for a felony offense who committed the offense when he or she was released on bond, on pretrial release, in pretrial detention, or serving a sentence of incarceration for a separate offense. To continue the conversation, my next guest will talk about why the cash bond system needs a radical change and how her organization is leading that change.
At Northwestern, We're wildcats in every way.
Go you Northwestern, go Northwestern, break right through that with our colors flying. We will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Welcome back to Medill Newsmakers. I'm Nadia Adams. In an effort to reduce incarceration rates, decrease bond amounts, and create legislation to protect people in low-income communities, organizations across the country are not only putting pressure on lawmakers, but are doing the work themselves. Administrators who uphold the rules of the system know firsthand the impacts of those decisions. I have here with me someone who decided to impact those policy changes on both sides of the criminal justice reform. Sharlyn Grace, the Executive Director of the Chicago Community Bond Fund, is here with us. Thank you for being here, Sharlyn.
Thank you for having me.
So can you tell us about the Chicago Community Bond Fund and what exactly does it do?
Sure. Chicago Community Bond Fund does two things. First, we operate a revolving community bail fund that raises funds and then pays bond to free people who would otherwise be incarcerated in Cook County Jail only because they don't have enough money to purchase their freedom. And we've paid bond for more than 220 people. That just cost us more than $1 million in the last 3.5 years. And the second thing that we do is we advocate for policy changes so that it's no longer necessary for us to purchase our neighbors' freedom.
And can you explain to us how are you guys able to collect all the funds to free those people that are stuck in jail that can't pay their bond?
Yeah, all of the money that we use in our revolving bail fund came from individual donors, mostly donors making small amounts or even monthly contributions. So people who know that we're better off when our neighbors and fellow community members are in the neighborhood, working, taking care of their family, and able to participate in their own defense than locked up in Cook County Jail.
So you have a lot of experience working to change criminal justice policies, and you've also worked at the Cook County Juvenile Center. What stood out in those experiences that you had, and what made you want to address the specific issue of the cash bond system?
Sure. So my first job out of law school, I worked at the Juvenile Expungement Help Desk, which is located at the Cook County Juvenile Center. And there I helped people expunge their juvenile and adult records, which were keeping them from getting jobs and going back to work, keeping them from being able to rent apartments and move on with their lives. So that was a really back-end response. It was important, it's essential work, but it happens after someone's been convicted and they have a record. And something that's really appealing about working on bail reform for myself, and I think many other people, is that it happens at the front of a case. And because people who are free while they're awaiting trial have better case outcomes, they're less likely to be convicted and they receive shorter sentences than people who are incarcerated pending trial, we're actually changing the trajectory of people's involvement in the court system. And it's also really easy for people to understand why access to money is unfair and why we should eliminate the role of wealth in our pretrial decision making.
Thank you. So going forward, whichever side of the fence you are on, one thing is for certain: criminal justice reform needs to happen, not just in Illinois, but all across the country. Organizations like the Chicago Community Bond Fund are working to change the trajectory of so many people's lives. Working alongside law enforcement and with state lawmakers, a comprehensive solution to long-standing problems in the criminal justice system can be resolved. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Nadia Adams. We'll see you here next time.